When you are fishing around a spawning bed area, maybe you can't see the beds, or maybe you're going to blind cast around them. You're not going to go in there and look at the beds and try to pick out individual fish. There's a couple of baits that are really, really good at casting, blind casting around these areas. Not necessarily throwing at a bed, but blind casting in areas where beds are present. A couple of baits that work real good. One of them is in today's tip. The other one I'm going to tell you when we do the tip. Good morning, guys and girls. April 21. April 21. Everybody identifies with Job. I identify with Job a lot. I've had a lot of heartbreak and hard times and hard knocks in my life, and I think about Job. Nothing that I've ever gone through, most likely nothing you've ever gone through, is anywhere close to what Job went through. And Job kept complaining to God, saying, I don't deserve this. I don't deserve it. Why is this happening to me? Let me reason my case with you, God. Guess what? God let him. God let him. And what did Job do? He fell down on his knees and humbled himself before Almighty God. Job 41:1, reading from a Catch a Better Life book. If you don't have a copy of this book, you can get it from jimmyhouston.com, Bass Pro Shops, Hobby Lobby, Cabela's, just about anywhere books are sold. We read these devotions and fishing tips and scriptures every morning at 5 o'clock Central Time. We don't read them at 5 o'clock Central Time. We post them 5 o'clock Central Time on the Catch a Better Life channel with Jimmy Houston. Subscribe to that channel. Pretty please, subscribe to that channel. Job 41:11 says, this is God talking. It says, and God is talking to Job, who has preceded me that I should pay him? Who's come before me that I should pay him? Everything under heaven is mine. Everything under heaven is mine. I was visiting with a preacher the other day here in Oklahoma, and he reminded me of the verse we was talking about people tithing. And I said, well, God doesn't need your money. He doesn't need my tithe. I tithe for my benefit. That's for my benefit. God is why I tithe. And I tithe because God is God. He doesn't need my 10%. And the preacher said, he reminded me, he said, yes, it says in the Bible that God has the cattle on 1,000 hills. And I said, God's got the cattle on all the hills. That's what it says in the Bible, though. God's got the cattle on 1,000 hills. And he says right here, who has preceded me that I should pay him? Everything under heaven is mine. Here's what I wrote about that. Preceding bass spawning, the fish go through several stages or states before they actually make it to a bed. Understanding these key pre-spawn and pre-spawn activities is vital to being able to catch fish during this time of the year. When we know that they stage on points in 8 to 10 foot of water, that they travel along north shorelines to get back to the spawning areas, that they like gentle sloping banks, we've got just a few of the many keys that help us catch them. That's a reward that we get for our knowledge. By knowing all of that kind of stuff, we put that into practice when we're on the water and we catch the fish. That's our reward for having that kind of knowledge. In life, our reward comes from God. Very simple. If you don't believe that, might as well just quit listening to this right now. In life, our reward comes from God. In today's verse, God himself was telling Job just how big a God that he really is. Just how big a God he really is. He said, who's preceded me that I should pay him? Everything under heaven is mine. God had no reason or need to pay for anything. He created it all, and he owns it all. He's got no earthly reason. Can I tell you? No earthly reason to pay or reward us for anything that we say and do. But he does. But he does. There's nothing that I could say, nothing that I could do, nothing you could say or do that would make it a reason for God to reward us or pay us. But he does. He does. You know why? He does it because of his great love. He does it because of his great mercy, because of his great grace. God's grace, God's mercy, God's love is why God rewards us. And he did reward Job. He did reward Job. Gave him back basically twice what he lost. And can I tell you, he'll reward you and me as well. I'm positive of that. I've seen it happen more and more and more and more all the time. it'll happen more often than not. God will reward you and me because He loves us and He's showing us His awesome mercy and His great grace. Here's a tip for today. Use floating jerk baits. Now, the other one I was thinking about is like a sinking worm. That's a great one. Or even a worm with a really light sinking type worm. It's got a really light slip sinker on it, maybe a 16th or 30th slip sinker. But a weightless soft plastic sinking worm, is good. But the other one is a jerk bait. Jerk baits blind cast around bedding areas to catch big fish. Floating jerk baits, not suspended jerk baits, floating jerk baits. Baits that you could throw out there, let the ripples die down, wiggle a little bit, let the ripples die down. You see around a lot of spawning areas, you see big wakes going, and that is bass chasing off bluegill. When they see that, use a bluegill color, like a clown colored is a real good one to use in that. Guys and girls, go out there and have you a fantastic day. Remember, you make the day doesn't make you, and God owes us nothing, but He continually blesses us anyway, just because He loves us. Have you a great one out there, and remember, I sure do love you.